It's the post-match phone-in. And tonight, it's just me. Mark Ryman is having some issues putting his kid to bed. Uh, first night in a bed, in a big boy bed for his kid. So it looks like Ryman's not getting any sleep tonight. But regardless, I'm here to take your calls. I want to hear from the fans. I've had my rant. I've got it all out. Just gonna mute that tab. Oh, I was getting feedback on my end. Anyway, yeah, I've done my talking. I've done my post match. You can find it on our YouTube channel. So I want to hear from you guys. Please just have a look in the description here of this video. You will see the link to call in, and it will be in the chat on the YouTube as well. Whether you're still Rob Edwards in, if you're Rob Edwards out, I want to hear from you. I want to know what you think about what we're seeing on the pitch right now. We can also discuss Swansea 2, Luton Town 1. A game, I've actually got some quotes here from Rob Edwards post-match. Some great ones, some really good ones. A game that was a really good performance. The second half was excellent until the red card. We were the better team. The game was where we wanted it to be. Delighted at where we were in the game against the team that wanted the ball. We didn't allow them the ball. We were really good. We defended the box really well. We switched off for one moment. We've shown a lot today and got nothing for it. The performance was there. Lots of really good individual performances. Learn from probably the one mistake that we made, and there's a lot of positives to take from today. It's alarming that our manager is seeing it that way. It really is. But I guess I don't want to say we're stuck, but we are stuck. But anyway, enough of me. Look, I've already done my post-match. Let's hear from some other people. We have let's check here. We have Lewis. Lewis, I hope you're well, mate. Oh, what's happened here? Oh, I've gone big. Hold on. Coming back. Yeah, so I don't know what's happened here. I'm gonna try and fix this on the fly. Whoopsie. Whoopsie daisy. See, technical difficulties. I'm not very good at this. Yeah. To everyone tuning in. I think Lewis is here. Lewis, are you there, mate?
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I'm just having massive technical difficulties. But
Shocking.
it wouldn't be a phone in without technical difficulties.
At least you're putting more effort in though than the team today.
I know. Yeah, that's good enough. I think that's good enough. I'll just sit further back. There we go. You just have an extreme close up of my face now. So,
Who else would
Lewis,
want that?
what were your thoughts, mate?
I'm just getting fed up, man. I'm really am. It's just draining. Like, I don't know who's more delusional, me buying a QPR away ticket or Rob Edwards thinking that was a good performance up until the sending off.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think you're delusional for buying an away ticket. Because look, we're fans. Like Rob can Rob can say whatever he wants. Fans are there forever. Players, managers, I've said it so many times. Even owners of football clubs. Look, the owners of our club, they're in their 60s and 70s. They're not going to be there forever. But fans will always be there. So no, there is no delusion from you at all. Just keep doing what you're doing, mate. Like both on the social media side, the YouTube, and backing the team.
It's just so hard at this moment. Like you don't, as content creators, yeah, we don't want to be negative, but oh my God, I didn't expect it to be as bad as this. Okay, I didn't expect, competing for top two in this division,
No.
but I expected to be in a conversation of competing for a playoff position. That's what I was expecting, and I don't think that's high expectations for a side that's just been relegated from the Premier League. I do not think that is high expectations to just be in the conversation. You can finish 10th and still be in that conversation. We're never, we're not getting 10th, not under Rob. I don't know if there's going to be a miracle that we change this. But even if he does recover this, I still think fans will always remember this period of what's happened. We've seen the worst side of him, and at the moment, I think the worst side just outweighs the positives of him.
Yeah, you're so right. Do you think there's any chance that he could recover it with like a good window?
No, because I feel like the recruitment wise, we recruit on the basis of whoever the manager is. So we as a football club will have probably like a certain criteria which we'll go for in terms of ticking boxes. So whether the player's got a good attitude and so on.
Mhm.
So those players are transferable to whoever the manager is. So even if we do bring in, two or three good players in, and we somehow manage to climb up the table, I don't know, let's just say 12th in the championship, and he does survive until next season. The moment we go on a bad run of form next season, we're all going to be there again, saying, "Look, this keeps happening. This is repetitive." If we're not in the conversation of the playoffs this season, then if we don't get it next year, it is fans are going to be on the board's back because there is money there. They can't deny that. Everyone knows the money from the Premier League, so we will be on the case.
To play devil's advocate on this, I don't know how much money there is from the Premier League. So at they call it the £150 million game for the playoff final. But you got to remember. So we earned about £88 million for competing in the Premier League. That was paid at the end of the year, plus another 5 million for finishing 18th. 2 million more than the team directly beneath us. So I would presume, and it would be nice if it was actually clarified by the board of directors how much of that money was actually ring fenced for the improved plans for power courts. Because
Well,
I there is obviously money there, but we're not talking about 20, 30, 40 million, to spaff on signings. But at the end of this season, we get another 70 million in parachute payments. What's going to happen with that? Is that money going to Power Court as well? And then we
I
receive
was
45
okay.
million the season after. Is that going to Power Court? There needs to be some transparency on that.
Well, this is I guess they do need to communicate this because I was under the impression that none of the Premier League money was in the Power Court pot. I was told our transfer budget and there's like different pots, and apparently not much of the Premier League money was going to the Power Court investment. Apparently, it was from a separate thing altogether. So I would like to know. Yeah, it'd be interesting to actually to have some clarification of what is what, because even I'm confused, and the whole Power Court situation needs to be idiot proof for me anyway. But even
And
if we
don't
don't,
don't believe everything you hear, Lewis.
yeah.
I won't go into any more details than that.
But regards to the transfer, like the money which we've got to spend, we know how we know we like to use the data. We know we like to do our business smart. Okay, yeah, this Canada year hasn't been great in terms of transfers. So I don't think there's any question. I feel like we will get it right. Okay, it's just been a poor year. We haven't had many poor years in terms of recruitment. So I do think we can recover that aspect of it. But still, I think it all comes down to Edwards, if I'm being honest with you. Like, regardless of what happened in the summer, he's shown tactically he cannot adapt. He can't adapt to the personnel that's available. He's too stubborn. Even going down to 10 men, he still stayed with the three centre halves.
Why? Let me
Against
stop you there.
Blackburn,
Why do you think that was? Because against Portsmouth we went no against Preston we went 4-4-1. Against
he actually had it
Oxford
right the first time.
against what was it? I'm
It was
trying to
against
think.
Portsmouth.
When Kaminsky got sent off.
Yeah, Portsmouth, and then against Blackburn, we went to a four. And then I think
And
against
Oxford,
yeah, and
where,
Oxford.
when Liam Walsh got sent off, we went to a back four. I don't know why he stayed with the three today. It made no
What
sense.
I mentioned it on my match reaction, and if you haven't seen that, go and check that out.
Yeah,
Cheeky little plug there.
I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. But yeah, if you haven't watched it, go give Lewis's channel a sub. Although I doubt there are many people who are sub to me that aren't sub to you, seeing as your channel is twice the size of our channel. So yeah, I don't know why I'm even saying that. Yeah, what were your points?
So when we went down to 10 men, I mentioned in my video that whatever happens when you go down to 10 men, you still need the other team to feel like there's still a chance we can score.
Hmm.
Like they need to have a question to think about. And as soon as we just carried on playing with the three at the back, Swansea knew we had nothing, like going forward. They knew that they could play so high in our own defensive half because they knew if we were to counter attack them, we've only got Morris. Like
Yeah,
you can't expect our wing backs to also push up because then that also leaves space in behind. So I was saying at the time when we went down to 10, it would have made more sense to actually play with two wide players, so like a Chong and a Moses, or even Taylor, and just play him out wide. So then you've got a bit of pace, so you can just counter attack him. Because then at least then that gives Swansea like something to think about. Instead, the ball was just going out to the Swansea defenders, back in again, and you just knew the goal was just gonna come.
yeah.
I'm surprised it took that long.
Yeah, well, contrary to Rob's post match reaction, we were very much under the cosh for pretty much the entirety of the second half, minus a little flurry when we got countered and red carded. So,
Yeah, I'm done with him because if he thinks that's a good performance up until the sending off, we had four shots at goal
well, only
throughout the
one on
whole game
target, and
and one on target,
it's
which
Swansea.
is
Like
gifted.
they are the ones that gift us goals. Like if you remember the home game, whereas I think Cabango played it back to Vigoro, sold him well short, and then Adebayo nicked in and took the ball. And this one, he just fired it straight at Morris. Like Morris did really well to control
Yeah,
that.
great. Yeah, great control and then first time finish. But look, this is going to continue until we stop getting points at home. And I said to my dad after the game against Derby, I went, although we've won, this victory against Derby's kept him in the job for another three more matches. And then if we beat Norwich, he's still got the job for another three more matches, and
Mm.
it will keep going in this circle until we start losing consecutive games at home. So it's like we have to lose at home in order for him to go, and that shouldn't be the right thing. And I feel like Norwich would be well. I like to think they'll come to us and play decent football, but their away form is something. It's poor.
Yeah. Well, how long can this go on? Because, after Norwich, I think we got some big hitters arriving at Kenilworth Road. I think we're probably fine until February. I think the big hitters start turning up at the end of February, early March. And then the home form will start drying up. Maybe we'll be safe by then. I don't know, but they're all very hard watches. But regardless, I don't think Rob Edwards is going anywhere. Even you said a win here gives him three more games. I don't think that's the case. I really don't think that's the case. I think it's a case of just hoping there are three worse teams than us. As we saw
Well,
today, people are picking up points now.
well, I was going through the championship teams because we've played everyone now, and in my opinion, the three worst teams I've seen so far this season are Watford, Stoke, and who's the other one? Oh, I had it in my head then.
Cardiff,
Um, no, I actually rated Cardiff over this other club. Stoke, they're above us in the league. Oh, I need to look
Sunderland.
at the championship table. But it was Watford, Stoke. I can't believe I've lost it.
Was it Sunderland?
And QPR.
Oh,
That's it. QPR.
QPR. Yeah, yeah. Well, to be honest, we played really well against QPR until we chucked it away. Um,
And all three are above us in the table. How does that
yeah.
work
Well,
out?
Watford just didn't turn up, but they'll be safe upper mid-table this season. QPR. It looks like Cifuentes has sorted it out now. So and Stoke, they're if they get Steve Cooper, they're gonna shoot up the table in my opinion.
Look at that. Stoke have been underperforming for many, many years, and they're still able to attract, a certain caliber of managers. So people need to
Yeah.
just remember, like, although things ain't great, we're still going to be able to attract someone. We are still, and I still
No,
believe we
I,
are an
I I
attractive.
disagree with you on that. Stoke have quite possibly the wealthiest managers in the championship, the wealthiest owners in the championship. They're worth like over 5 billion. The what I call them, the Bet365 family. I can't think of their names. So people can put it in the chat. They're worth so much. They just pay so much. We're not going to give a manager like that amount of cheddar in a wage, are we?
We're probably not, but I don't believe Edwards is on X amount of money like I've seen reported. I don't believe
I
that at
I
all.
think he's the highest paid person at the club, to be honest.
You reckon?
Yeah.
Normally that isn't the case.
There was
Normally managers are
so
not.
much heat behind him at the end. Remember, at the end of last season, and I've spoken to my namesake at The Athletic about this as well. He said there was so much heat behind Rob Edwards, his words, not mine, even though he has the same name as me. So much heat behind Rob Edwards towards the end of last year. And that's all gone now. It's all gone. All the magic of Rob Edwards, the whole facade has sort of faded away. Um, so yeah, he signed a contract at the right time. Was it the right deal to give him a 4-year contract? No,
I
no.
like I like to think it's not a 4 years. It's only a 4 years if he achieves certain things. But yeah, we have to see about that, don't we? But
Oh, we'll never know, mate. We'll never
yeah,
know. Like I've got a better chance of interviewing Gary Sweet than finding out that information. Um, I, I guess we'll see. But thank you very much for joining us. We'll get the next caller in, and if make sure you check out Lewis's post match. It's up on your channel now, isn't it? And we
yes.
yeah.
Unfortunately, he's doing too well.
Well, we put it in the chat as well. Thank you, Kate, for putting that in the chat. Really appreciate it. Take care, Lewis, and hopefully when I move you to the waiting room, it doesn't distort the screen again. Let's have a see. Right. Oh no, that's not good. Well, I'll get the next person in then. Here we go. I think that sorted it. Oh, the technical difficulties because there's no rhyming this evening, so I'm doing it all by myself, and the screen
Did I
is
jinx
getting all
ya?
distorted. Yeah, you did jinx me. You said, "Oh, I hope there are no
I must
technical
have.
difficulties," and then we've had
I-
nothing but technical difficulties this evening. How are
Right.
you liking the camera angle that's like really tight on my face? How do you like that?
Excellent, mate. You've missed your calling as a model.
Well, to be honest, with
Missed
my
your
nose,
calling, mate.
I'm more like a sundial. To be honest.
I
Let's
better
have a
watch
look at before you start moaning. Let's have a look at some of the comments. Okay, is Fanny available for Norwich? No, he's not. That's the first. He won't be available until the second. Mike Kilby, hello Mike. I hope you're enjoying Japan, mate. The Luton goal looked like a gift. Yes, it was. Luton Dale, agree with Lewis. Not much else to say about our away performance, except if you're a betting man, you can make a few quid. Yeah, that's fair. The Swansea goalie must be high up on the Luton Town assists this season. Yeah, but 2 assists. I think he's probably second to Alfie Doughty. From James Blakey, no discipline, 20.8% of the games this season. We got a red card. That is ridiculous, isn't it? And Mike says, no indication for me that we can attract anyone of value at this point. And Kate says it's the Coates family. Yes, the name escaped me. Thank you very much, Kate. Right, Si. Go on. Let's hear it, mate.
I'm going to watch what I say just in case there's any club admins on social media watching, because I know that you're watched by some of these clubs, Ollie. You didn't think I'd let this one pass by, eh?
I don't think I am watched by them. I reckon there's probably someone though that does a digest of. Well, I used to think that there was someone in the media team that did a digest and sent it to Gary, like a zeitgeist tape, like the Prime Minister gets a zeitgeist tape of what's going on, the current events and stuff. And then that gets sent to Gary Sweet to watch, like a 5-minute digest of what the fans think. But now, to be honest, I don't think they give a 2 hoots about.
I don't know. The Bristol City admin might.
Oh yeah, thank you.
The Bristol City admin might get it, mate.
Yeah, I got done there. Like, to be honest, you can clip
I
anything.
couldn't believe my eyes when I saw that.
Yeah, you know, I had about 50 people send that to me.
That's how you know that it can't be anything good, when you've got 50 notifications lighting up. Oh,
I don't mind. Like,
anyway.
look, everything look. Firstly, if Bristol City weren't a joke, they would have scored more than 1 goal against us. And furthermore, 17 of their previous seasons, they've only finished above 10th in the championship once. So essentially, we gave them a 4-league head start, and with all their investment, we still made it to the Premier League before them. Just saying.
Very true.
Just saying.
Very true.
They are a joke. And then to back up my point, because I mentioned Stoke in that clip as well. That clip that was released in July, we recorded that pre-season. Then Stoke go and sack their second manager in 2 months. So I'm chalking that one up to a win, to be honest. And then in the comments, the Bristol City fans were agreeing with me. So there, have it, mate.
Some were agreeing and others were being a bit much for me, but you know, that's another story altogether. Let's talk about this then, man. We're poking around it now. What is there to, I swear, I say this all the time now, whenever I come on it. When we play away from home, it's the same old. It's same old. We are just lackluster. We have zero ideas. We're playing a system that is, quite frankly, Ollie, when did I first say this? This must have been about, I don't know, September time. And I said to you and Ryman, I said, teams are so effective against us because they know exactly how we're going to turn up and play. I've said it so often, and it's true. Rob Edwards, I don't know what's wrong with him. I don't understand it. Why would you not leave that system to try something differently at this point, considering it's not just been a little bit of an experiment at this point? This has been the tactic now for a year. A year this has been the tactic, and he refuses to budge from it. We got that win in the Premier League where Adebayo got the hat-trick, and it was that moment where Rob Edwards apparently swore on the Holy Bible he would never deviate from this path as a football manager. And here we are today, getting Adebayo bullied off the ball like he weighs 5 stone. I don't understand. Like last season, Elijah was competing with the best, and this season he's just bouncing off every single player. It's strange. Colton Morris, I'm trying to be a bit more kind to, because at least he seems like he gives a shit. Like he looks like he cares. Whether or not he's getting the results, at least he looks like he cares. The red cards in our discipline record straight out the window. as someone said in the chat, 20% of our games we've ended up with a red card. We didn't have a red card all last year, and there's only so often you can blame the refereeing.
Yeah, so true. So true. I honestly don't know where we go with the red card situation. Look, you can't. There's no blaming the referee for when Liam Walsh decides to go and try and amputate someone's leg.
Or when Kaminsky absolutely loses his mind.
Goes
You
kung,
know,
kung
things
fu
like that.
fighting.
I feel a bit sorry for Joe Johnson, you know, youthful, inexperienced, and it was a roughly red card to get.
I don't
And
think
then,
I don't. It was like, considering the challenges that were going in, it was just a shoulder barge. It was it's a tactical foul. To be
and
honest,
then
I Mark the Hatter messaged me at half time and said, "Oh, I think McGuinness is going to get sent off in the second half." And
this is so rough. This is rough. It's getting to the point where you just what more can you say at this point that we are being served up every single week, tepid performance after tepid performance. I'm going to the Norwich game. I'll be at the Norwich game, and if we go down a goal in that game, it's not going to be very nice. Like it's just there's going to be you're going to be able to hear a pin drop. And today is the worst reaction on social media I've seen yet. Like to Rob Edwards, hands down. If you go scroll through the replies to the announcement that we lost the game and Rob Edwards' interview, it's pretty grim reading all round. Where do you go from here? Edwards, for me, he said if I was to be a divisive figure, the fans would let us know. I'm pretty sure the fans have let him know.
yeah, well, look, Outlaws, who they've done some great things to the club, and they've recently gone registration only. So only like the die-hard Outlaws posters are now posting there. So at 7:30, I was sent results from one of the posters from Outlaws, who I'm in a WhatsApp group with Hatters Heritage stuff, and he said an Outlaws poll: Rob Edwards in or out? 88 want Rob Edwards out, 4 want him to stay. And
that's
keep in mind,
insane.
yeah, this is Luton Outlaws, who, you know, a lot of them are in their 60s, some of them are in their 70s. They've seen, like my dad, they've seen us go top to bottom 3 times. Like, I've seen it twice, but remember, a lot of these people were there for the FA Cup final, and then in 1959, 1960, we were relegated the next year, all the way down to Div 4. So a lot of these people have seen this stuff, and they've had enough. There are only 4 people there that think he's the man to turn it around. It's
Ollie, before we
crazy.
continue,
Yeah.
it looks like you've got an important message in the live chat you should have a quick look at from Luton Dale.
Hi, Gracie. I don't know what age you are. If it's past your bedtime, go to bed. Both my kids are in bed, but big ups to your parent, Luton Dale. Take care.
We had to stop it for that. Definitely had to stop it for that.
That's the first shout out I've ever been asked to give.
Mate, yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Penny didn't have a great game when he come on today, I didn't think.
Did anyone have a good game?
Exactly, that's the problem. Look, that is the problem. The only ones that I could, Kaminsky, I don't think holds much blame for what's going on. Personally, I still think he's a good goalkeeper, but when you're facing the quantity that he faces and has done during his entire time at Luton, what can he do? He's only one man.
Yeah. I feel he had a good game, but at the same time, he's facing a lot of shots. Like if you compare his numbers to Ethan Horvath's, and Ethan Horvath had the benefit of a ridiculously strong defense in front of him, whereas Kaminsky just has he has Moses in front of him, so the defense has just been parted like the Red Sea, hasn't it?
It's not good, mate. It's not good. I think it's definitely time. I'm with Lewis on it. That I don't think it's going to happen because it's going to be the January window. Oh, we can back in. We'll see what changes. And I said earlier, I was like, what happens if we sign these players? Like you said, it seems to be like we sign players per manager for what that manager requires, sort of thing. So we sign these players. Say we sign these players that Rob Edwards wants in January. Nothing changes. If nothing changes, you then have to get another manager in, and that manager decides he doesn't like those players that Edwards has brought in, and then what?
It's expensive. It's the Man United cycle, isn't it? Where they drop like a couple of £100 million on players that a manager wants, and then the new manager comes in and decides, no, all these players are rubbish. Not that we even have the funds to do something like that. It's absolutely mad.
It's concerning.
Yeah, it is concerning. It really is. Do you think we have any ability to attract anyone in the window now?
Not for unless we're offering silly money, which we don't do.
Yeah.
We don't offer silly money. I'm not saying we should offer silly money. I don't think that's the way to go, obviously. But at the same time, we have to do something.
Yeah.
That's the position we're in.
I do think signing someone like, it's not even confirmed yet, but signing someone like Christ Makoso is a good shout because you're expanding your horizons abroad where you don't have to pay as much. But will he be ready-made and ready to jump into the championship?
You fear it might be a Hashioka situation again, where they can't contribute a lot straight away, and they're just shut in the deep end.
Well, two things. One, Hashi was from tier 1 in Belgium, whereas this guy is tier 2, and we were in the Premier League for Hashi, and Hashi was playing left centre back, left wing back. He was playing everywhere except his actual position. Although when he did eventually play his actual position against Wolves, he looked awful. I think the fundamental problem is playing, going man for man all over the pitch. I said that in my post-match reaction anyway. I don't know where we go from here, Si. I really don't.
I've got no idea. I wish I had the answers. I'm sure everyone wishes we had the answers. But you can't change a whole team. That's what I just say over and over again. You can't change a whole team. You can only change the manager.
Yeah. No, it's so true. I feel, as I just said, like the man-to-man is a mistake because obviously Rob doesn't know how he's coaching it. He doesn't know how to coach it. So we just got to go back to basics.
I don't understand how every player can still look so confused at a system you've been trying to implement for so long.
Well, it's been implemented since we brought it in for the first time against Arsenal. That 4-3 home loss. That was the first time we implemented this system.
So long ago now.
Yeah.
Feels like a million years ago,
it was
doesn't
Brighton. Maybe Brighton was the grand unveiling of that. And then it sort of belly flopped 45 minutes later against Newcastle. But it hasn't been a good one. I got some stats. And by the way, I think it's who's next in the line. It's who is in the waiting room. Got some, I think Tom in the waiting room. Tom, I'll come to you in a minute, mate. Just gonna drop these numbers. Okay, so I actually tweeted this, and surprisingly, I get a lot of hate for it. I'm just reporting the numbers. I have no agenda here.
Damn you must have had them pre-prepared.
2024 is some stats for 2024. It's the first time since 1991 Luton Town have only won one league game away from home. And only once before have Luton Town lost more than 17 league games away from home in a calendar year. That was 1908 and 2018.
Oh, my word.
Yeah. That was 2018 under Graham Jones. So pretty much
illustrious.
Yeah. It's down to that level, but the important thing is to sort of rationalize it. We had just been promoted to the championship then. Whereas now we've been relegated from the Premier League. There is no reason for us to struggle. And some may say this is our natural position. I don't think for 1 minute you can entertain the notion that battling relegation in the Championship is our natural position, considering we've just come down from the Premier League and we've recruited, for a better lack of a word, a Championship super team.
It's a lazy argument. That's a lazy argument. I don't know what to say. It's just a shit show. Sorry, Gracie. I don't mean to swear.
Yeah, how dare you? How dare you swear? Like, as soon as I found out we had a little girl
sorry about that.
Watching, like, I curbed my language.
Sorry about that. What can we do other than change the manager at this point? I don't understand. And I think giving him the window is a very risky business for what has been a pretty risk-averse ownership.
Yeah. So it really is. It really is. But they I don't know. Could it be a case of that they are backing him because of the cost associated with sacking him? I don't for 1 second believe the 1.5 mil figure that has been bandied around. I don't believe that for a second.
I'm just lost for words at this point, Ollie, mate. I'm just repeating myself because it's the same silly errors. It's the same obvious problems that all 10,000 of us managers have identified. And you know, what more can we say about this? I'm not trying to be a negative person, but it's got to the point now where the entire fan base is sour.
He has lost all the goodwill, hasn't he? He has. It's alarming. Right, I'm going to get the next person in.
Yeah, get the next guy on. I've had enough of Luton today.
Catch a side.
Lane, mate.
Right, we have Tom the Trash Bin. I think that's correct. Good evening, Tom. How are you doing, Mr. Trash Bin?
I'm all right, thank you. I go by many names. I try to kind of keep it as uniform as possible, so sorry about any confusion.
Oh, it's all right.
How are you, though? I mean, obviously, apart from the shit result.
Yeah. To be honest, I was expecting it. Before, you know, there's always that denial before the first ball is kicked in a game where you're like, yeah, we can get something out of this. And then when Morris scores in the 5th minute, I was thinking, yeah, we can get something out of this. And then Swansea just took off like a Tesla from some lights. So it happens.
Well, I can't say I watched the game today because I don't think it was on Sky Plus, and I can't be asked to get it on my dodgy stick at the moment. Not with the way we're playing. I think it's a bit too much effort. But no, when we went 1-0 up, I was down here, and my mum, she was like, "Oh yeah, 1-0. We're 1-0 up." I was like, I don't understand why you're celebrating. You know it's going to be 2-1 by the end of the 90 minutes.
Should have put a bet on.
I should have. I really should have. I'd have been a richer man for definite. But yeah, no. Rob Edwards, man. Yeah, I think he's got to go. Surely he's got to go. Surely the board, right, are looking at this and they've looked at the statistics and they've gone, we've had 9 league wins all season. Now, fair enough. Up until May, you can write some of that off because we're in the Premier League. We had a very difficult run in. Some of those results, some of the games we should have definitely won. What comes to mind is the 3-0 when we were 3-0 up at Bournemouth and we lost that 4-3. Right, those games we should have won, but we didn't. But then, you know, your Man Cities and, you know, your more established mid-table Premier League sides, you're not going to get results against them. So fair enough. If I were the board, I'd be like, right, from January to May, we'll ignore those losses. What I don't understand what the board are doing is that I kind of already expected us to have a shitter season. Oh, sorry for the language about little one, but I expected us to have a worse season this year because I just did. There was a gut feeling, but I didn't think we'd be doing this bad. I thought we'd finish, maybe mid-table. We'd be comfortably mid-table at this point. But I think we're actually in a relegation battle. If I'm completely honest with you, we've just, again, as someone said earlier, we've just got to hope that there's 3 teams worse enough, because we're not playing like a team at the moment. If you're telling me, especially, I looked at Edwards' interview, and he said we played well. If you think that 4 shots, 1 on target, and 27% possession is playing well, now I know possession's not everything, but if you think that's playing well, but every single stat's going against your favour, it speaks for itself, really. You're deluded.
It's delusion. Yeah. I don't know where he's at the moment with his post matches. He's just sort of just deciding things to say and then just goes at it. He doesn't really care about what the fans think anymore. But going back to your point, and you queued me up really nicely for this. So yeah, let's write off the Premier League. But regardless, so another stat that I've got here. 2024 away defeat percentage in the league. So, okay, in the Premier League, we had 7 defeats in 10. That is a 70% loss rate. Okay? In the Championship, 10 defeats in 12 matches. That is a 83.3% defeat rate. Isn't that alarming? We've had more losses in the Championship than we did in the Premier League. We've actually gotten worse since being relegated.
It is alarming. It's very alarming, because if you look at a statistic like that, and then especially if you compare us to Sheffield United and Burnley, who, by the way, they finished below us in the Prem. The points don't lie. They have not been struggling away this season.
No.
They've been getting results, and on paper, as I think many of people have said, our squad is not 19th in the Championship on paper. But at the moment, with the manager and his tactics, I still can't believe he's chucking Chong in left wing back or right wing back or whatever he's chucking Chong into, if I'm completely honest. Because when I wasn't actually at the Birmingham game when they spanked us 5-0 on the first game of the season. But the people around me, they said he played brilliantly, and I'm pretty sure he didn't play as a left wing back or a right wing back. So what on earth Edwards is thinking, I don't know. I know he's got to try and fill a position, but again, Chong's not a flipping wing back. He's a midfielder. He's an attacking midfielder. You put him on the squad. You put him on the field for him to try and create chances. So I don't understand that. But again, with the manager we've got at the moment and the tactics, the stubbornness of I don't understand why he keeps playing back 5. Repeatedly. The fans, everyone around me at Kenilworth Road, because I'm a season ticket holder, everyone around me at Kenilworth Road is saying he needs to play a back 4. He needs to stop this obsession with a back 5, because we're not playing Man City or Arsenal in the Prem anymore. We're playing, how do I say this not disrespectfully? Because obviously, you don't want to disrespect the other teams. But we're playing teams who we should on paper be beating. And we're back 5 seems to be too technical, and it ends up backfiring on us. We end up hoofing balls up front. It's negative football. Go back to the basics, play a back 4, and I think we'd probably see more positive football. But I don't think Edwards wants to do that at the moment. I don't understand why. I think he's a one-trick pony. I think he's been found out, and if I'm honest with you, he's got to go. I'd like for him to walk, but if he refuses to walk, I'd like to hope that the board are going to sack him.
Do you honestly think the board are going to sack him? I don't see it.
No, I don't see it either. I don't see it. They're idiots for giving him a 4-year contract, if I'm honest. I know he's done a lot, but I don't, especially with modern football, you'd never give a manager a 4-year contract. 2 or 3 at best. what Pep Guardiola? I think he only was offered a 2-year extension, and he's won the Champions League with City. He's won 5 titles, and he's done all of it with Man City. They only give him a 2-year extension, whilst we give Rob Edwards a 4-year extension for essentially getting relegated. Now, obviously, I know back in the time, we finished 18th. A couple of ifs and maybes. We could have maybe stayed in the Prem, but I don't understand why we decided to give him a 4-year extension. It's almost it snookered us a bit because again, unless he
personally, I
walks,
think they panicked because there was all that talk about McKenna going from Ipswich, and then all the talk from the Athletic saying, "Oh, Edwards is going to be next in line at Ipswich." That was my thoughts on it.
To be fair, you have a point. That's actually a valid point. I completely forgot that saga happened in the summer.
Yeah.
But regardless, a 4-year, even a 3-year, a 3-year would have been better than a 4-year. It'd have been cheaper. It'd be cheaper if things didn't work out in the long run.
There'll be targets. In the any managerial contract should have targets. You'd hope, unless Rob, flashed the eyes at Gary and managed to sign a deal with no targets or KPIs in there, end of season targets. But yeah, it's said in the chat here, and I said it earlier from to Lewis. We gave him a 4-year deal because his stock was high, and that they figured he would have a good start to the season, then someone would pinch him because you know how it is, the managerial merry-go-round in the Premier League. Someone's going to get fired. Gary O'Neill was hanging on by a thread. They were probably hoping Rob would do well, and then Wolves would come in and pinch him, or someone would come in and try and pinch him. But alas, that has not happened, and he's all but destroyed his legacy, I'll say.
100%. He's a nice guy. If he does walk, or if we get the balls to sack him, he's a nice guy. I wish him well for his next ventures. But him staying, I think it's gonna sour the relationship even more. I think if I were Rob Edwards, again, he'd turn around and said, "I'm gonna leave if I'm decisive." Yada yada yada. If I were him, I'd be looking at social media tonight. I know obviously it's not good for his mental health, but I'd be looking at social media tonight, looking at what the people are saying. He even kind of referenced it in his post-match against Derby by saying that that stupid comment about 10,000 managers in the stands. I would be kind of looking at that, and I'd be thinking, I might walk.
Why would he walk though? Like he's on a he gets
on a 4-year. No, on a 4-year. I mean that again, the money's preventing him from doing so. But I think if I were him, excluding the money obviously, because obviously he's getting paid for 3.5 more years, isn't he? He's getting a decent wage. But if I were him personally, I would, excluding the money, I'd be looking at what I promised to fans. I'd be thinking, right, I'm a decisive figure. I've not done well this season. If I'm continued at the helm, I think I'm gonna, I don't think this is gonna go anywhere. I'd walk if I were him, but obviously he's not gonna, because as you said, he's got a nice bloody paycheck every month coming in for the next 3.5 years, and we got unless the board are willing to part ways with money, which that's another thing. I do think I understand why they're a little bit tight, but I think they've been a bit too tight the past couple of windows. And especially since promotion and relegation, I think since our stint in the Premier League, they've been a bit too tight almost with their money. Because I know we kept the majority of our squad, but we didn't spend that much in the summer window.
No, net.
I know
McGuinness at all.
No, McGuinness. Well, McGuinness is. I don't know how much McGuinness is rumoured to be worth. 6-7 million. That's what I heard.
Up to 10 million. But remember, he scored his first goal for us, and he's had a call up to the Ireland nationals team and made his debut. So that's probably a couple of extra mil in add-ons.
Yeah,
and I think we overpaid. Yeah, Lamine Fanny. Well, he actually looks like a proper player. I can't wait for him to rot in our reserves, barely get a chance, and then be sold to Barnsley or Bolton for a massive loss in a couple of years. But I guess we'll see what happens.
Like Mendes Gomez.
Like Mendes Gomez, like
Yeah.
John McAtee. A lot of our players who we should be sort of trying to squeeze through into the first team or get some minutes, but instead we just cut them off, don't we?
Joe Taylor.
Joe Taylor, he's the latest. Like, people are like, oh, why are you saying Joe Taylor's the Messiah? But whenever he's on the pitch for like 7 minutes or 5 minutes, he makes stuff happen, doesn't he?
He gives it his best.
Yeah.
I mean, that's enough. I tell you what, I know we're not really meant to be like circulating rumours and stuff, but from what I've heard, he's definitely out of Edwards' favour.
Yeah.
Edwards does not like
talks about it, don't they? Everyone talks about it.
It's something to do with him having fisticuffs on the training ground with a player that Edwards really likes. That's what I think.
Oh, don't believe everything you see on WhatsApp.
Oh, it was at that. It was at that. It's my. I won't say my sources, but I'm pretty sure I trust him.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, as I said, we shouldn't really be circulating rumours. But Joe Taylor, I don't understand why we're not giving him a chance. How is Cauley Woodrow getting a chance before Joe Taylor? That's another thing that's
best
really
finisher at the club, mate. He's the best finisher at the club. Didn't you see that beautiful shot against Bristol City? It was amazing.
No, I didn't.
He made the goalkeeper almost break his stride. It was fantastic. Okay, my last question to you, and then we'll get Tyler, and then we'll go to Ash, and then we'll wrap this up. So my last question for you is: how much do you think we're going to spend in the January transfer window?
Not much.
I'm going to have to press you for a figure here.
A figure. If I were to, it depends on how much the board. If the board stick with Edwards, which is looking likely that they will, I think they'll probably give him 10 mil.
10 mil.
Maybe even less. I reckon 5 to 10 mil. Again, I think they've got an issue with being tight because post relegation, again, I know we kept our squad, but they barely spent any money.
They got a fair whack of money. They got all the Chio Bene money as well, don't they?
Yeah, but as Lewis said earlier, what's happening with that money? What's happening with the Prem money and what's happening with the Power Court money? I think they need to kind of clarify that a little bit.
Yeah, but look, they do. We know they do.
They need to turn around and say, right, this much, from the Prem, we've used this much money to invest in Power Court. We've got this much remaining. That's another thing that has kind of pissed me off this season. I won't go into too much detail because obviously you've got people waiting, but I think the lack of clarity has stung.
Yeah.
It's stung for a lot of fans because we used to be quite open, and when things go well, they love telling us about it. But when things go to the shitter, Gary Sweet hasn't been talking much.
It's a funny one, isn't it? Now that you say that, because last season when things were, I don't want to say good, but when things were, the upstarts, Luton, you couldn't get in front of the cameras enough. But now, all we get are passive aggressive boardroom notes.
Yeah. I get just a little bit of honesty with the fans. I think from the board as well this season, like if they were to come around and just say, yeah, we're good, this is what's happening, I think their fans would be a lot happier because I could go on about the board for I won't now, but I could go on about since relegation. I think they've been tragic. I think they could have been a lot better than what they have been. But yeah, no, to answer your question, the last question that you did ask me, I reckon we'll spend about 5 to 10 million. I don't think we're going to spend that much.
Yeah.
We'll try and look for some washed Premier League, the ex-Premier League person who's probably like 35. Try and give them the second life to their career. Like Eric Peters? We just signed on a free.
I completely forgot
why did we do that?
I completely forgot about
why did we do that?
No,
why did we
needed
that?
bodies. We need bodies, and you know what? Joe Johnson's injured now, so not injured. He's suspended for the next game, so I think we could see Eric Peters, although Amari Bell's back.
So it's a bit pointless. I mean, I'd rather spend a little bit of money on a player that's a bit more decent than Peters. But
True. And younger,
oh
but
well.
hey, the cones won't put themselves out at the training ground. So
No, and
No.
I'm just one of them 10,000 managers in the stands.
yeah, well, like me, Tom, it was a pleasure. Thank you very much for joining us this evening, mate. Really appreciate
Thank you for having me
it.
on.
Yeah, welcome back anytime. Have a good evening.
All right, take care, mate.
Right, I'm very sorry for the language for Gracie, if Gracie is still watching. I hope your mum's out for a very good curry. It's another shout out for Luton Dale. Right, let's bring in Tyler from T-Boys TV. Tyler, good evening, mate. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm all right. Thank you for waiting. And then we'll bring on Ash at the end as well. What did you make of that? Were you there?
No, I didn't go to this one, and there weren't no last-minute decisions to go to this one either, thankfully. So, yeah, I've just got to that stage now where it's got to that stage, hasn't it? And you think to yourself, well, you know, you take a draw in any of these away days, to be honest. You know, it was one of them where poor yet again. You know, the goal, fair play to Morris for being in the right place at the right time, but I thought Swansea were quite risky doing that because they'd done the same thing, didn't they? Like you said, at the home game, and we capitalised on it. But other than that, you know, they had great chances in that first half to, you know, I said it on my match reaction to win the game, even though it was only the first half. They had great opportunities, you know, and we were just so lacklustre yet again. I mean, I'll be honest, I've been calling for Nakamba to start, but he was terrible today. He was all over the place.
I don't think he's right, mate. I don't think
No.
Look, it's crazy that a knee injury could completely derail your career, but it really does look like that's the case, doesn't it?
Yeah, it just doesn't look the same. I mean, obviously, we need to get some numbers out, you know, whether that's on loan or stuff. I think maybe potentially loan him out, consider it, because I just think he's all over the place. He's not looking the same, is he? He's just a lot of misplaced passes as well. I think there was a time in the game, wasn't there, where he passed it to like Clark and then we nearly conceded because he put him under pressure, and you know the tackling was just clumsy, and it's not what you expect from him, is it?
No. But also because we're persisting with this 3-4-3, although we play with three midfielders today, we have a lot of midfielders. We do, and with Fanny coming in. And maybe Zach Nelson going out. But if you look at our squad these days, midfielder wise, like we're not really having the injury crisis isn't really hitting our midfield. So there's Jordan Clark, Pelly Ruddock, Marv, Liam Walsh, Tahith Chong, who can play midfield, Shandon Baptiste, Tom Krause, Zach Nelson. We've got Fanny, and yeah. That's a lot of people for a 2 or 3 man midfield, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And especially how we play, you know, we play with a cam in front. So on top of that, you got, you know, a lesser sort of option in midfield sort of thing. But yeah, I thought it was poor. Yeah, I'll be honest. I mean, again, it was one of them where there was a few decent individual performances, but as a team, you know, when I say few, I only mean like 2. You know, as a team, we were just terrible. Yet again, it's just anytime, it's like it has been every single away game, lackluster. Anytime a team goes forward, you know, we just look, you're nervous as a fan every time because you know they're going to have a great chance. And I mean, there was a few sloppy stuff, you know, the goal, which should have been cleared. You know, I love Kaminsky, but, you know, obviously he had his little moment, didn't he? Where obviously they hit the post from his, you know, where he dropped it. I thought after that he was good, but he had his little moment there. You know, it's just as a team, we're just not... I don't know what it is when we go away from home. I mean, throughout the whole season, we haven't been great. It's only been 2 good performances for a consistent, you know, period of time. It's obviously the derby, and I think the Sunderland game we were decent. We were quite unfortunate. But other than that, we've been terrible. You know, and it's just no urgency. And again, there's always one thing. I think I might have said it last time I went on here. I've said it on my channel. There's always one thing you look at with the lineup that you question. And for me today, it's the consistency of putting Chong in wing back game upon game. I don't understand it.
It makes no sense. But at the same time, it was better than Moses at wing back because Moses was dire against Bristol City.
Yeah, that was one of his poorer games. I have to agree.
It was bad, well, it's good that Ruel Walters is back, but he's literally just come back straight into it, and then bam, he's on a game. He's on a team that's down to 10, so it's not ideal, is it?
No, not at all. And even then, I feel, me personally, I mean, I'm not sure what everyone in the chat thinks and you think yourself. I feel a little bit sorry for Hashioka at the moment, because I think since the Watford game, I think he's been a lot more composed, and he was pretty good in games. And there's certain games he just don't get an opportunity, like a last game. I mean, I think he should have got an opportunity to be playing, especially with Real Waters being out at that time.
Mm-hmm.
You've got that option, haven't you, where he is the only right wing back or right back, whatever, right wing back with the way we play. So utilise him and use him. And it's like today, he don't even get a run out. I mean, I feel sorry for him. So I think he's come in, since that Watford game anyway, and been decent. He's looked a lot more composed. He looks like he's been able to adapt more. He's had a bit of, you can tell the gelling with certain teammates is done well. Obviously, when we scored against, I think it was Stoke, obviously, at that moment with Morris, you can tell he's gelling in the squad more, is basically what I'm trying to say. And I feel he should be getting a lot more of an opportunity. And I like Real Waters. I think before he got injured, I know it's very early on, but I think he was one of our better players at the start of the season. But he shouldn't be coming straight on for me ahead of Hashioka anyway, based on Hashioka being available more because he's just come back, Real Waters, and also I just think Hashioka doesn't deserve to be thrown out, really.
Mm-hmm. No, I completely agree. And at the same time, I think Hashioka would work if we were playing a back four alongside also Joe Johnson on the left-hand side. Left back would work there. Even if we played a system where the defenders were just told, your job is to defend, don't overlap, don't leave our half, just be a line and defend, then it could work. But then you have... but Rob obviously has his favourites, and that's why Chong is consistently played at wing back. That's the only way I can think of. But you don't want Chong defending. You don't want Chong running towards our goal. You want Chong, not even entering our half of the pitch. You want him, as an outball, because he's probably the best in terms of progressing the ball outfield, isn't he?
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I've said the same thing myself. He's one of them players where he's very, good on the ball in the sense of, driving at players and running at players. And with putting him as a wing back, you're not utilising him to his strengths. I've also said it myself. I think I've said it on here. I've definitely said it in the Norwich game or after the Norwich game. He's not strong on the ball. He's quite weak on the ball. If we're going to be honest, look at the Norwich goal, for example. You just got to shield him off. But again, it's not his position. You're utilising him to not do things that he's good at. Unless you put him higher up. And also you look at, the Derby game, I understood it because we had no one else to put there. You're not going to throw, even though he's been good, you're not going to throw Zach Nelson in. I understand it from that side of things. But with these players coming back, it's like I said, you have, obviously, before he got sent off, but just going into this game, you had Johnson available. All right, we didn't expect Bell to come in. That was out of nowhere. But he was another option that you've got on that left. And then as the other wing-backs, you've got Hashioka and you've got Real Waters now as well on top of that. So for me, it should have been, someone who is naturally a defender or wing-back, shall I say, in this game. There, even if you put Johnson higher up there like we did and then have Hashioka on the right, I wouldn't mind that today. Or chop a change between Bell and Johnson like they did at times by the looks of it in this game.
Yeah, a very good point. We got a question here from Matthew Keane, which is where is our next away win coming from? So T, I'm going to give you our next game. So we got QPR. Ignore Forest in the FA Cup. That's obviously going to be a loss. QPR, Oxford, Sheffield Wednesday, Sunderland, Watford, Burnley, then Cardiff. Where does our next win come from?
You know what? If I'm going to be honest, I can see us beating Cardiff narrowly. That's how long I think it will be away.
That's the 11th of March, 2025.
Because a lot of these games, I'll be honest, Derby, obviously we want to win that against Watford. But what usually happens in the Derby, especially since I've watched it, obviously I've not seen as many games as other people. But what I tend to know and what I have found out is the team that tends to be at home does tend to win in the Derby, especially in the recent games anyway. The other games, Burnley, can't see us getting anything. Some of these games could be tight because the opposition ain't great in some of them, but we'll still lose majority of them, I can see.
Okay, so when do we get our next points then? Because remember, QPR are flying at the moment. Oxford United, that two wins on the bounce, I think, under Rowett. Sheffield Wednesday pushing for the playoffs. Sunderland in the playoffs. Watford's home team in the Derby. Burnley at home.
Do you know what? Even though I do think they are decent and they are not doing as well, they're doing okay, but you'd expect them to push up a little bit. I can see us getting our annual 1-0 or 2-1 win against Norwich and then losing the next game against QPR.
Losing against QPR away. Okay. Yeah. So you think
for the third time, by the way,
that'll
be the third time we've lost to them this year.
Yeah, I know. It's absolutely horrendous when you keep meeting a team. I remember a couple of years ago, I think we played Derby Reading. We played Reading 4 times. I think that was 2021. We played them in the Carabao. Then we played them in the FA Cup. We just couldn't get away from Reading. It was horrendous. But I think we had the last laugh on them anyway. Although it's diabolical what's happening at Reading. Right. T, because we're overrunning, I'm going to boot you and go for Ash.
Nice one.
Thanks for coming on, mate. Really appreciate it.
No worries.
Right, let's get Ash on very briefly. Hi, Ash. How you doing, mate? Thank you for waiting very patiently. Right. T, no. Running. I mean, Ash is listening to his thing. Ash, because we've overrun, we'll get you on next time, mate. Really appreciate you waiting. Really appreciate your patience, but no one wants to listen to me prattle on for more than an hour. So I'll just say to everyone, thank you very much for watching. I know it was just me. Normally there's a better double act when Ryman's here. I hope Ryman has managed to get his kid to sleep. Thoughts and prayers are with you, Ryman. As always, thank you to all our callers. Really appreciate it. Thank you to everyone in the chat. If you're listening or you're watching or on YouTube and you're not subscribed, subscribe to the channel. We're going for 2,000. It's amazing. We had like 50 subscribers in July. 2024 has been fantastic for the channel. Not so much for Luton Town. That's a great point. Well done, Mike. Great points from Ash there. Sorry, Ash, that we didn't get you on, mate. We'll get you on next time. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening. Really appreciate you all. A happy new year of 2025. Let's hope we get some away wins and bring on Norwich. Yeah, Mike, 2025 has to be better for us, mate. Can't get relegated again. Right, everyone, take care. Come on, you Hatters.